Dubuque was one of those cities that was able to have a professional team, and it was actually about the perfect size for professional baseball at that time.
President and general manager Johnny Petrakis was the foundation of the team.
Well, Johnny was Mr. Dubuque Packer baseball. I knew him well, and he was kind of an old snake oil salesman type. I mean, a very extremely successful insurance man here in town. He just loved the game, and therefore ran the club pretty much on a shoestring budget, but probably any additional cash was out of Johnny's pocket to help keep the team afloat.
Although originally a Chicago White Sox affiliate, the Dubuque Packers' parent team changed.
Major league franchises would kind of, well, I'm not sure I want to be affiliated with a team there. And it was simply that the city didn't have the money, the community didn't have the money to keep the ballpark up to normal baseball, professional baseball standards. So the Sox left. I think Texas, Seattle, perhaps San Diego, and then Houston came in and supported the club.
They were probably always like 3 or 4 steps away from the major leagues.
At the age of 8, I found out that my father was a minor league, broadcaster, and he did all the Dubuque Packer games.
2 men out, runner at first. A scoreless ball game here in the first. So Reese stretches and fires outside for a ball. It's 1-0.
Dad was damn good at what he did.
Well, that river looks pretty out there anyway tonight. Not as much blue sky as we had last night. As a matter of fact, tonight we've got none.
The original Petrakis Park was located on the ice harbor, which was right across the train tracks from the Shot Tower Monument and the Star Brewery. That area of Dubuque was really industrial.
It was a 4th Street ballpark, they called it. Later on it became Petrakis Ballpark, but it was a 4th Street ballpark. And the outside of the ballpark were all these piles of lumber.
We had maybe capacity for 2,000 people, but when you put 3,000, it was all down the whole sideline.
We had to put all our stuff up, all our equipment up, because the locker room had flooded.
Before 1969, there was no flood wall. Usually every spring, the water would rise, the 4th Street ballpark would flood, it'd be up to the top of the fence, and the Packers would have to go to Cascade or Dyersville or Farley or Holy Cross or Epworth to play their home games.
In the outfield, there's train tracks there that went around the outfield, and I don't know if it was my imagination, but it always seemed like the engineer would blow the train whistle when he'd go by.
Make a lot of noise. The guys in center field would talk about when the train come by, you couldn't hear what was going on.
And it was called the Land of Corn. He would, on the radio, say, "Oh, now if the land of corn is out there, whoever's on that caboose, will you flash a light to let me know you're listening to the Dubuque Packer games?" Sure enough, there'd be a flashing light at the end in that caboose every night.
While the train rolled away, a more infamous Packer distraction was making its debut.
It was a kind of our own little unique twist here to minor league baseball in Dubuque.
The fish flies would you could hardly, I think they'd call the game off for a while or something, because the fish flies wouldn't go away.
We actually had to shut the ballpark down because the lights were blowing so bad. The fish fly was sticking onto the lights, and we had to call the ball game off.
They're absolutely harmless, but these ball players that, some other place had never seen a fish fly, they just didn't know what was going on.
Thought they were being attacked by vampire bats, I think.
Here's Jadelsky, the center fielder. He doesn't want to run into any embarrassing situations.
Deacon Jones he played here in the 1950s, and he's actually the last player in professional baseball to hit 400, which is kind of a unique distinction, but it's, but he did it at a Class A level, or Class D at that time. We had Terry Poole, who went on to play for the Houston Astros.
75. That was the year that was a stepping stone in my career, because I got put on the map with the Astro organization. They went, okay, now he's not a suspect anymore, he is a prospect. They always said, well, Terry Poole, well, you could pencil him in for, he's going to hit 290. He's not going to make any mistakes in the outfield, and he's going to be a quality player. And that's the type of player I always was.
Tommy John is probably the most recognizable name, and he was a Major League Baseball player, but he was probably more widely known for reconstructive elbow surgery.
A local name soon became a celebrity.
Weebs really did a wonderful job coming out of Loras College to go play for the Dubuque Packers.
When we threw snowballs at cars, I was always the one that hit the car. You know, it was really kind of cool to be able to walk in there and put on a uniform in the locker room. And walking out in the field the first time was pretty nerve-wracking in front of all the people I knew. One of the first few games I got to pitch, I came in Dubuque here. We were playing the Danville Dodgers, Pedro Guerrero, and they had a real nice team. And I came in relief in like the second or third inning, and I struck out 11 guys in like 7 innings, and we won the game, came back and won the game.
I was surprised. It was a big city or town, whatever you want to call it, city that attracted, well, you know, a lot of people to the baseball game. And I ended up the season there and ended up with a pretty good winning record, and I led the league in earned run average, and I think we got into playoffs, and I won the first playoff game, and then we got knocked out. It was best out of 3, so we ended up losing the next 2, so then we were done for the year. I was kind of glad to be up there, finish the season out there. It was nice.
Win 18 ball games one year, you're looking for 20. I missed out on winning 20 a couple times, but it was a thrill every game you won. In fact, one night I won a ball game there, and time I got to the clubhouse, I had about $100 in my hat. So they was throwing $20 bills in my hat, you know.
They had a Player of the Week award, and whoever won the Player of the Week award got 24 Pickett's beer, and I lived with 3 other guys. Well, all 4 of us had good years, so we just about won the award every week. So we kept ourselves well stocked.
But the players couldn't have achieved this success without the help of some leadership.
There was only the manager. There were no pitching coach or hitting coach, any of that stuff. And he did everything more or less.
Man quite familiar around the city of Dubuque, Elmer Vallow, the 1965 manager of the Dubuque Packers. Elmer, how do you see this, a 6-game or a 7-game series?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, the Twins are going to have a tough time of it, but they're in their home park. And being in your...
The first manager that I met was Walt Novick. One thing that I'll always remember, he said, always give back to the game. And I hope I'm always doing that.
Bob Cluck, our manager, was a first-year manager.
He was a fiery little son of a gun. He gets us all together and he says, I got a letter from the commissioner of the league that says if the Dubuque baseball Packers are involved in any more benches empty brawls, each and every player would get fined $100 and the manager would get fined $500. He goes, I got one thing to say. If we get in another fight, benches empty brawl, he said, I better not look back and see any of you guys sitting on the bench, because he said, you got to pay the same as everybody else, so get out there and fight.
Fights weren't the only mischief the players found.
That time disco was a big thing, you know, and so you go in these stupid disco places, you know, most of us just stood back and watched the other guys make fools of themselves, you know, but it was pretty funny, you know, and then we'd have to tiptoe back in the hotel and not turn that key without clicking too loud, you know.
That was one team rule that we had. Was Bob Cluck stood up there at the beginning and said, oh, by the way, East Dubuque is off limits. Well, of course, everybody was looking around going like, well, then we all have to go there. So, because why would it be off limits?
There was one that I got caught. I went in there real tiptoe, you know, I turned the key and sneak in my room, it's all dark, you know, and all of a sudden, click, the light comes on, there's Cluck, my manager, going, that's gonna cost you $50. Last time I did that.
There were on-the-field rules that players had to abide by, too.
There are certain unwritten rules in baseball, like if you're 10 runs ahead, you don't steal second base, and somebody did that, then somebody might get hit with a pitch in the butt or something like that, if that guy was accurate enough to hit him in the butt.
Willie Wilson played for Waterloo.
And he was with the Royals' #1 draft pick.
Our manager hated Willie Wilson with a passion.
He would get on first base and he'd steal second, steal third. And it didn't matter what the score was. And
our manager got all the starting pitchers together. He told us that if we didn't hit him with the pitch, we'd get fined $50. So I hit him. I couldn't afford $50.
The one game we were way ahead. So I took all the bats and put them in the bat bag. And the managers just went nuts. I mean, he was using some bad language, and because I didn't know that was a no-no, and so boy, I quick all of it, and sure enough, we lost the game.
But the superstition didn't take away from the team's success or popularity.
Playing the game is one thing, but for a little kid to watch minor leaguers and learn it's a treat.
They won a few championships in like the late 1950s, early 1960s.
Dubuque had a lot of fans.
I believe it was 1958 or 1959, they led the entire country in attendance.
One Sunday afternoon in 1956, we had more people at the Dubuque Packer game than what the White Sox had.
My dad always said there's nothing better than drinking beer out of a paper cup and a bag of peanuts at a ball game.
We ended up with a pretty good team.
Dubuque was very instrumental in my career.
It was just so much fun, you know. That's what I'll remember always about it. You know, there's just the fun I had.
And the Packers backers, they backed the team a whole lot. It's like a church society. They done a lot of stuff for us, you know, for the ball players themselves. And they was a great community for baseball. And I wish they had it today.
Swinging a bouncing ball to the right side. Gerken spears the ball, slips to one knee and throws him out.
Ultimately, when Houston pulled its sponsorship, the ballpark was in such disrepair that Dubuque had to let the franchise go.
Dubuquers really supported it until it just got so run down and dirty, and you know, it just wasn't fun anymore.
You know, the people of Dubuque, you could tell, loved baseball, and there was a following for that. But it's also a business, and that's the thing about the minor league franchises. They move all the time.
So that team actually went to Kissimmee, Florida, and just continued on from there.
It was satisfying to see these young guys mature, grow up, and go on to have success in the major leagues. But baseball is still the grand American game. There's no doubt about that.
The Packer days were good days, and I wish they were still here.
Due primarily to facility conditions, the team left town. They never returned for a 1977 season or any season after that.
Had Perry been able to get himself out of the goo and get going, he slipped and fell twice. You ought to see the first baseman, Jeff Talbot, laughing right about now. Running at first base with one man out. Here's Rick Underwood, right-handed batter. Stretched by Murphy, and the pitch. Little bit low and outside, ball one. I don't think we're going to see too much moving around on those base paths tonight. Perry had fallen. He tried to get up and slipped down again. Tried to get up again, fell again. Finally got up and then really went down. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swinging a bouncer foul over to the left. Ought to play this baby on water skis tonight. 1 ball and a strike on Rick Underwood. Ronnie Manders, the right fielder, over to the right. Well, if we can't run the bases as our normal customary acumen, maybe we can play a little long ball with them this evening, then we won't have to run, we can just trot. 1-1 pitch, check swing, it's low. 2 balls and a strike. Underwood hitting at 270 with 30 runs batted in, 11 home runs, 10 doubles and a triple. Pretty good right-handed power. Here's the stretch and the pitch from Ken Murphy. Swing and a miss. Count evens at 2-2.